Welcome to Rulebooks Anonymous.
You'll be the first person to attack someone or try to screw
Yeah, because this is a game.
I don't like it that you have 7 cards.
Yeah,
You can only have 5.
he wanted you to pay it up.
That's right.
For us to give a price would be insanity.
I was running around like a hero with my fire extinguisher.
Putting out all sorts of fires, literal and non-literal. In this game, Manda went screaming up the mountain.
We ended up winning, didn't we?
Rulebooks Anonymous. Welcome to Fireball Island! Actually, welcome to Rulebooks Anonymous. I'm James McMorrin, your host, or one of your hosts, one of 3 hosts.
Yes, there are 3 of us.
There are 3. I'm here with Dennis Bagley.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
And the aforementioned, my wife,
Your wife?
Amanda McMorrin.
The plane.
The plane?
Thank you for that. I'm glad that you went with it.
Yay! If you're wondering why it's going this way, we decided to change things up a little bit, keep you on your toes, keep it fresh. Keep that meat fresh.
That Impossible Burger meat,
Yes.
keeping
yes.
it fresh.
Yeah, we talked about that off the air, folks.
We did. We talked about all the fun fake meat that's coming out. Fake meat. No. Replacement meat?
No, it's called fake moose.
Fake moose.
Yes, I'm copywriting that right now.
And now there will be less cow farts and we'll all be saved.
You see, you joke, but that's actually the argument.
I know. That's why I said that.
Yeah. But what does cow farts have to do with gaming?
Nothing, but it has a lot to do with nothing. Nothing at all.
Cow farts, the board game.
I mean, cow
Can we
farts
do
are
that?
important. They're killing us.
Actually,
There's a Euro game in there.
There actually is a game with it's like a plastic fart cloud. My son has it.
It's creepy.
Yeah, you press it. It's like it's cards, and you dole them out, and it's got numbers on it, so that's how many times you press the thing, and it will go off randomly. So it's like whoever cuts it is out for that turn or something.
Oh my God.
I was like imagining that something like a little stink bomb would explode and stink everyone out.
I'm sure there's a more advanced version
Oh.
that has like a skunk spray kind of
That would be
deal.
amazing.
Oh, that'd be great. Like if you are the loser of that round, it sprays you in the face.
Oh, that'd be
Something stanky,
Oh.
like a
Not
stink
in the
bomb.
face. Why
In
does it have to be
no,
in
you
the
have to put your
face?
face in there. It's like what's that game? Pie face, except instead of whipped
Fart
cream,
face.
it's fart face. It puts just you know what? They have the one where it's the duel, and you have to like push the button to make it go
Could
back
it be
to
like
the
a
other
little
side.
butt that goes back and forth?
Yeah, and so the person who gets like the stank in their face, it'll be great.
Maybe.
Another fine product brought to you by Rulebooks Anonymous, creators of Eat a Deck.
You could even get that chocolate whipped cream and it gets
Aww.
So we're a podcast about board games, card games, some other sort of games.
Video games.
Those games.
Yes.
And not mind games though.
No. It's never good to play mind games.
Don't play
ever,
mind games.
I'm
Ever.
crying because I laughed so too hard.
You don't want to talk about chocolate pudding. God. This would have been great on like Double Dare or Nickelodeon back in the day.
Oh my god.
Man, too bad I wasn't old enough back
Oh,
then to
man,
create
we could have designed
games.
some great stuff for
We
them.
definitely could have.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna talk more today about Fireball Island.
And
we
you're
went
actually
back
going to
to
be
the
able to hear it.
Yes, because those of you that have been our longtime listeners, thank you, first and foremost.
Yes, thank you.
Episodes 1 through 3, we had some issues with the audio. It was mostly due to Stumpy,
Dang it,
our
Stumpy.
little goblin that was in our D&D campaign. He's got too small of a hands.
He was
doesn't
mad
know how
that
to-
James killed him.
Yeah. When the DM just starts laughing when you roll a 19.
It's an impossible feat. Yeah, so we're going to go back to the island. We're going to talk more about primarily the expansions for the game, because we did talk about the game before, if you want to muddle through that, but we will kind of give a brief overview.
This did lead to our long-standing, I don't know if it's a bit running gag or what, when we start ripping on Australia.
Yeah, this was the beginning
Yeah,
of
that was
Australia.
it was when we were talking about one of these expansions, wasn't it?
I think it might have been.
We were talking
I
about
think it was the bees.
Bees.
The
Oh,
bees.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
bees.
Duppies.
So we played it again recently, and we added a bunch of the expansions in, and went hog wild. So we're going to give a quick overview, and then we'll get into it.
Cool.
So Fireball Island, it's the Curse of Volcar, so not to be confused with the original version that came out in
80 something.
84, 5, somewhere in there.
What's the big difference for people?
The big difference is they reworked a lot of the mechanics to make it a more modern game, so it's not your standard roll and move, and added a little bit more strategy to it. There's multiple lanes to get places, whereas in the original one it was kind of just a straight line sort of deal.
Yeah.
And then they added in item cards and things like that, so it definitely got a bit more heavy, but I use that word very lightly.
Use the word heavy lightly.
Because this is not a heavy game by any stretch of the imagination. Even if you put all the expansions in, it's still pretty light. But
you could play all the expansions at once pretty much, and it's
and it's still not
going to be too overwhelming.
I'm looking behind Amanda, so everyone look behind Amanda. And
No.
I see 3 expansions.
There are 3 additional box expansions, but there are some. I think it was called the Treasure Trove, which added more item cards and things like that. So
Okay.
little expansions. But we'll get to those. Don't worry, we're gonna get there.
All right.
Getting ahead of us,
it.
Dennis.
I'm
Jeez.
jumping the gun. I'm sorry.
So Fireball Island is a game for 1 to 5 players, or it's going to be for 1. Right now it's 2 to 5. I believe they've released rules, or are going to release rules for solo play. I may have missed them if they've come out already. It's ages 7 and up. Playtime is 45 to 60 minutes. I think that's leaning a little too on the high side. I don't think I've had a game go over 45 minutes.
No,
I
we
was
go.
gonna say I think we did 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was with kids running around and
Yeah, screaming in the background.
Yep. So
Well, it's because everyone was like totally willing to just kill each other in this. You don't kill each other, but like run each other down and get it down to there as soon as possible.
So it was designed by Rob Davio, J.R. Honeycutt, Justin G. Jacobson, Chuck Kennedy, and Bruce Lund. They all had a little bit of a hand in it. I think Rob Davio and J.R. Honeycutt were the primary designers. I could be wrong.
Did they design the original as well?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't remember who designed the original. I'd have to
And
look
this
it up, but it
is-
wasn't them.
I don't know if you already mentioned it, but this is a renovation game.
Restoration games?
Restoration.
Oh,
yeah.
don't do that. They're going to get mad that you said their name wrong.
No,
I'm
kidding.
so sorry. I apologize.
Restoration games, we like you.
And we do.
You
We
come
love
up with
all
some
your
really
games.
cool stuff.
And I'm going to buy all your games. All the
We
games that are
have
coming.
a good chunk of them already.
Anyway, so it was published in 2018, and Fireball Island is a game which is a vacuum-formed island which players travel on trying to collect treasures and photographs, which are worth points at the end of the game. Movement is determined using cards instead of dice, which also have a secondary purpose, which includes allowing you to turn Volcar, flick a fireball, or Ember Marble, and put the Cataclysm cards, which will allow you to put fireballs down through Volcar. And let's see. And you're trying to knock the other players over and steal their treasure. And anyway, like I said, that's all we're really going to say about the base
And
game. Or
one-
did you?
I was just gonna add, like, Volcar is a big giant head
Tiki
in the
head thing.
tiki head in the middle of the island that you can drop, like he said, the marbles through. That's how you're trying to knock other people down. And it does have little like trees and other
Yeah.
things that you can use to block yourself.
Yeah, and
And it's a huge game.
but what we're going to talk about primarily is the Wreck of the Crimson Cutlass. Man, I cannot talk today. The Crouching Tiger, Hidden Bees, and the Last Adventure expansions.
The bees.
The Bees,
The
as well as
bees.
the upcoming expansion, which we kind of touched on when we talked about the Gamma Trade Show, the Spider Springs expansion, which I'm excited about.
We haven't played that one yet, but
Nope, not yet, but we'll talk about it anyway, because we can.
Yes, we can.
we do what we want here at Rulebooks Anonymous.
Yeah, with that last one that we played, Amanda.
Yeah, you'll hear about that in a couple weeks.
Yes.
That was just because I was super excited to win. Just gonna
Yeah,
say.
sure.
I'll leave it at that.
Cheater.
Playing
cheat
fast and
here.
loose with the rules.
Rulebooks Anonymous. No, just kidding. So first off, we're going to talk about the Wreck of the Crimson Cutlass. It's an additional board. It doesn't attach to the main island, and it is the wreck of a pirate ship, and it's got cannons, and there's a crow's nest that acts similar to Volcar, and when you fill it up with cannonballs and there's a cataclysm, it falls over and dumps cannonballs all over the deck of the ship. There's also a little skull and crossbones on the bow of the ship that you can hit, and it launches an ember marble. There's also crystals in there, and I'm trying to remember the crystals you can use to turn in for.
Oh, gosh.
I think it's an additional
Point. You know. You
Well,
get
there's points, but you can also use them for something else, and I'm gonna look it up right now.
So if it doesn't attach to the board, how do players get to the ship?
So in the main game, you remember how there were like the numbers 1, 2, 3, and you could go through those numbers to get to a different part of the island. It's like little
like the
secret
caves.
pass. Yeah.
Okay.
So you could actually get there from a cave.
Oh, so it's almost like kind of like Clue with the secret passages
Yes.
that take you to different
Yes.
parts. Okay.
And that's where I spent most of my time.
You did. You hung out in there.
You just,
And it was actually cool because
were
people
you
kept
just
trying to.
firing cannons at everyone on the island?
I didn't fire any cannons, but people kept trying to hit me with cannons, and they were failing incredibly.
Wow.
So, like, it was pretty awesome. I collected all the crystals, and I literally spent like
The
majority.
sapphires.
Yeah, I literally spent the majority of the game in that ship by myself. Everyone else was too scared to go over there.
That's awesome.
And yeah, the sapphires give you an extra action, so you can take a second action if you trade them in, but they are worth 2 points at the end of the game.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's one of the expansions. It also adds additional action cards, some souvenir cards, including, and I think you had this, the black spot.
I started with it, yeah.
And you tried to get rid of it, and it kept coming back to you.
No, so I gave it to the other Amanda. No, Kelsey. I gave it to Kelsey.
That's right.
There's another Amanda?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
another Amanda.
There's lots of Amandas.
Oh,
There's a song named Amanda by Boston.
there is?
Mhm.
I haven't heard
Gonna
that one.
take you by surprise and make you realize Amanda. No?
So now we're paying royalties.
No, there was just enough that we're okay and
We're
still
okay.
fair
Okay,
use.
that's good.
Just cut it out.
Oh,
Nobody
no,
wants to hear that.
I'm
in
leaving
here.
that in. We're starting your music career.
Yeah, it's starting right now. So yeah, you had it, and it was like this trade-off back and forth. I think I had it at one point, and then gave it back to
It
somebody.
kept going. So like, I gave it to Kelsey, and then she was stuck with it. Like she.
So what exactly is the black spot? I think people are probably wondering that.
It counts as negative points.
Yes, that's like it's kind of like a curse basically, and it's negative points at the end of the game if you have it when
Okay.
everyone
Yeah, it's
leaves
negative
the
7
island.
points, and if you pass another player, you give the card to them. So you're like running after people, trying to like just throw this thing at them and keep
So you're
running.
just passing it around like the flu.
Yeah,
Basically,
Okay.
I started out with it like it was given to me as because he was passing out the souvenir cards, and that was part of my souvenir. And
You're welcome.
Crappy souvenir.
And so, it was a really crappy souvenir. And so, the first thing I did was I got rid of that crap by passing Kelsey, and I gave it to her, and then I ran to the ship, and I avoided it for the rest
So
of the game.
she couldn't get. Okay, so because you're on the ship, she can't give it to you.
She would
She
have to have gotten
could
to the
have,
ship.
but nobody wanted to go on the ship. They were all too scared to get stuck on the ship.
Okay, so in order to pass the spot, you have to be like physically next to the other person.
Yeah, you have to pass.
Yeah,
you have
so
to pass them.
if they're moving along the path, you have to cross them. Or go
Gotcha.
It's
over
the
Okay.
same idea as the tiger eye jewel thingy or the firestone or whatever that is.
the Volcar treasure.
Yeah. It's the same idea as the Volcar treasure. If you pass them,
You steal it
you
from
steal
them.
it from them. With the black spot, you pass them and you give it to them.
Okay.
And so, like I said, poor Kelsey could not get rid of it. She would get rid of it, and then
You just run
she
past
couldn't.
him and just smack him on the back.
She could not get far enough from people to keep it off of her.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. No, it was pretty good though.
And then she thought she had gotten rid of it at the very end, and then didn't.
She gave it to me, I think,
and then you were.
and I slipped out.
Oh no, she did get rid of it, and you slipped out and gave it to the other Amanda. She's the one who ended up with it, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I
And
think
it
she
was-
gave it to me, and then other Amanda was trying to get to the helicopter.
And she got stuck like right on that last
She
spot.
was
before
one
the-
space short, and I went by and handed it to her on my way off the island, and I said, "Peace."
So she got stuck on the island as it's disintegrating and falling
She-
into
Yeah.
the ocean with the curse.
Yep. I
It's a
definitely
double
handed that
whammy.
one off.
Just double whammied her, huh? Gosh.
Poor girl.
I'm a real nice guy.
Oh man.
So nice.
That's what kind of horrors do they have besides the pirate ship?
So,
And the black spot.
yeah. The other expansions that we have are and this is a great name, it's the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Bees expansion. And I have to say, the bees specifically are one of my favorite expansions, just because of the
Pennies, too.
chaos that they cause.
Well,
So,
makes sense. It's bees.
so this one comes with a crouching tiger, and the tiger can be launched, like he jumps out at you from the jungle. And I don't know if you ever remember the game, I think it was Ants in My Pants.
Yep.
Where you launch the little ants into the suspended pants.
Yep.
The tiger is one of those, just made to look like a tiger.
Well, it's even like the kids have those toy frogs with the,
Or those two,
the
yeah.
little plastic toy frogs that you can push down on their butt and make them jump.
You shouldn't touch frog butt.
I can
You
make
shouldn't.
a paper version of those, actually.
That's what
Origami.
that's basically the same thing as
Yeah.
this tiger.
Little jumping frogs.
And the
jump
tiger
frogs.
stands off of the island.
And you launch him onto the island,
It's hard.
trying to knock people over.
This sounds like a Monty Python bit where you're just launching animals at people.
It
Random
is just
cows.
like that. It's so hard to launch that tiger, though.
It's hard, yeah. You either over launch or you short it.
So there's no happy middle. It's all or nothing.
No, but it's great. The bees in here, which I said are one of my favorites. Some of the treasures get replaced with these honey pots, and the honey pots are worth 5 points, I believe.
Is that less than the original treasures, or is it the same?
The original treasures are based on sets,
Okay.
and
Funny.
so they are worth more the more you have of that color. So
I was just going to
worth
say,
more than some, less than others.
funny story, I had another Godfather moment where I went the whole game thinking the honey pots were...
Bad.
No, I thought they were lanterns. It's like-
Oh, you're going back to the, what was it, the French fries? No.
No,
No,
it was a paintbrush.
The
It was
paintbrush.
supposed to be booze.
That's right. I remember now.
I just, I just make up things with my own brain.
Your imagination.
Oh, good.
Um,
For stealing honey from bees, that's a great way to piss them off.
So you can steal the honey pot, and when you do, you get a bee sting. And the bee stings make it so for basically one turn, you have the movement of whatever is on your card that you play. So if it's 10 movement, you get 5, etc. So kind of a pain, but nothing terrible. But the cool part of the bees is when you launch the bees, you take the entire beehive, which consists of 10 smaller marbles,
Okay.
and you dump them all down in Volkar's head all at once. And they go everywhere. And if they're touching anyone at the end, they get a bee sting for that next turn.
And they don't, and they don't knock you. They don't have to knock you over.
No,
they just have to touch you.
Can you get multiple bee stings?
I think you can only have one at one time.
Oh, that's not realistic.
Well, you know.
Because normally, if you launch, what was it, the lava?
Are these the Australian nightmare bees?
They are the nightmare bees.
Okay.
If you launch the normal,
fireballs
fireballs down,
You have to do one at a
Volkar.
time.
Yeah. I remember
you can do
that.
one at a time, but it also has to knock someone over. If it just
Yep.
touches them, it doesn't affect them.
I think that they could probably work in some kind of rules where you get like 2nd-degree burns or something. I mean, you are getting hit with a fireball.
I mean, if you want to make it that complicated, I'm sure you can.
No. I don't need to make it extra complicated.
It's a level of unnecessary complexity.
I agree with that.
So it adds one souvenir card and then some more action cards as well.
Okay.
And that's about it for that expansion.
Man, with the chaos of the bees.
The bees are great. I really do love them. They're my favorite.
Let's see all these players running around. I'm coming
see,
in, bees!
When you're on the pirate ship, you don't have to worry about the bees.
That's true, you don't. But you have to worry about cannonballs.
But
don't-
the cannonballs didn't even hit me.
I don't know. What if you replace the bee cannonballs? They're cannonballs filled
Now
with
that's
bees.
something from Australia.
Cannonball bees. I wonder if that's like a
Crikey.
species of bee.
A cannonball bee. It's just a really large fat bee.
Oh my god.
And then,
Yeah,
and
it
then
sounds
they
like
launch
a
themselves out
lawnmower.
of cannons.
Yes, it sounds like a lawnmower when it's flying. Oh, that'd be terrifying.
And then, so the last expansion that we're going to talk about from that we actually have at the moment is The Last Adventure, which adds the 5th player to the game because the base game only has the 2 to 4 players.
Yes.
So this adds your Indiana Jones style player,
Woohoo! Even though he's on the box of the original.
even though he's on the box of the original.
Okay. That seems like a bad marketing bit.
I was kind of wondering why we didn't have him when we were originally playing.
I know,
it.
we've got like the large tourist, the girl that's got like high heels and she's running through the jungle.
The Beachbody guy, and
Yeah.
then
The other girl.
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the other girl? I'm trying to remember.
She's that scared looking one that's like, ah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, the one that runs upstairs
Oh.
during the horror flick.
Yeah.
And then and then there's the guy that's all like, and I was all, is he
The Beach
modeling?
Body, yeah.
The beach
Yeah.
body. I was like, is he modeling? He's scared.
Yes. He flexes when he's scared.
So
My pecs.
So this one adds a couple different things. It adds snake marbles, a boulder, and the golden idol. So if anyone is a fan of Indiana Jones, they remember where he's trying to replace the idol with the bag of sand and misjudges.
Yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark, if you're having trouble remembering that.
Yep.
That was,
Yeah.
that was probably the best one.
He's running from the boulder,
Yeah.
and also he hates snakes.
I
Just
don't.
like-
I'm sorry. I
Wanna
I
know
don't
if-
like snakes either.
Funny tidbit about Indiana Jones, real quick. That scene where he, and that guy's trying to have like a big old knife fight with him, and he
Oh,
just
where he
shoots
busts
him.
out the sword. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently it was supposed to actually be like a big old scene. James told me this.
Oh, where he whips out. He was supposed to whip out the sword out of the guy's
And
hand,
it was
right?
supposed to be like, yeah, a big old sword fight. And Harrison Ford, he's like, I really have to poop. Can I just shoot him and kill him?
I think it was a little more than that. He had like dysentery or some form of.
Is this 2 episodes in a row that we've somehow talked about bowel movements and stuff?
Did we talk about bowel movements last time?
We talked about that with soldiers marching. I can't remember if that was
I
like
brought
last
that up, too.
episode or the
Apparently I'm
episode
obsessed with talking about poop.
Is that a mom thing?
I mean, I do. You know, once you become a parent, you sniff other people's butts to make sure they...
Penny, come here. Oh, that's terrible.
You know what? Enough of our listeners that our parents know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wait,
But-
are you ripe?
Still,
Yeah.
I've never done the is it chocolate or is it poop yet.
Aw.
You mean lemonade? Oh, you mean chocolate. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant asking the kid.
Aw.
Do you have chocolate or lemonade?
If I was questioning whether it was chocolate or poop, I wouldn't try tasting it. I would just
What
be
the
like,
hell
we're
kind
watching
of game
this.
is that?
All right.
Have you been to a baby shower? Because it's a game that gets played.
They melt
I
the
avoid
chocolate
baby
bars.
showers as much as I can. Quite
They melt a
honestly.
bunch of candy bars
In
into
diapers?
diapers, and you have to try and, without tasting, you have to try and figure out what candy bar it is.
Oh, that sounds so awful.
It's an interesting experience.
Mm.
I guess we'll go back to the game. I'm sorry.
No, that's what happens when the snakes bite you. Is then you have to go and take
You
a
have
dump.
You have
dysentery.
dysentery.
So the snakes act kind of like ember marbles. They get set up in these little dimples. I don't know what else to call them. Divots, dimples,
Holes.
Either one works.
holes.
Dents.
And they get flicked off
Craters.
at the different people. So they're flying snakes. And then the boulder is you place it on a cave without a player, and you flick it like an ember marble, and so it rolls over.
Is it a bigger one?
It's huge. It's by comparison, I guess it's huge. Not really. It's probably the size of a golf ball.
Oh, jeez.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
But it's foam, and so yeah, it can knock things over, and you lose 2 treasure, or the player that does it steals 2 treasures instead of 1. And then if you're poisoned by the snakes, if you get hit by the snake, you start with a poison token, and you Oh, that's right. You, instead of playing a card from your hand, you draw one off the deck and play that instead, so you don't get to choose what you're playing.
Oh.
Yeah, they're creepy, flicking snakes.
We haven't played this one yet, but...
Oh, I have.
Oh, you have?
Jack and I played it together.
Ooh, I'm jealous. I want to play that one.
Are these snakes also from Australia?
They definitely are.
Okay. I just imagine they're probably coiling themselves up like springs and just kind of bouncing out of the trees.
Yeah.
I'm imagining snakes that have, like, helicopter tails. Like,
Wasn't that in, like, Robin Hood in Disney?
maybe.
Like the snake put his head in a balloon and he's using his tail to kind of move himself around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't the
like the-
sheriff. Was
No, he was like
He's
the
with the
second
king.
in command. He was like the royal
doofus.
advisor.
Yeah.
Sir Hiss.
And they basically reused the Jungle Book snake for it.
Basically.
They did
Yeah.
a lot of recycling with Disney movies.
That's true.
Well, to be fair, Baloo and Little John were the same voice actor.
Yes, as well as
Blue from Tailspin.
no, there's one other one.
Tailspin was awesome.
He was in another one. Oh, that's gonna bug me now. Oh, the Aristocats, Thomas O'Malley.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, Thomas
Thomas
O'Malley, the alley
the
cat.
alley cat.
That
The other
deep bass voice.
He has a nice voice. I could listen to his voice.
the other thing this expansion does have though is it also adds player powers.
Oh, so you get like superpowers?
Yep.
Ooh,
And Jack and I also played with that one.
that sounds like fun. I want to play that.
Sorry, I guess we
Let's
have to
play
play
that.
again. Sorry. Sorry.
Playing.
Sorry.
Playing these games and not inviting your wife.
So many games.
Your wife
is gonna
be pissed.
You were doing something, or maybe you were in. I think you were out of town.
Oh.
I think you were in Idaho.
That's what I get for going to Idaho.
Yeah, you shouldn't go to Idaho. That's a bad choice.
Lesson learned, everyone. You go to Idaho, you miss out on games.
It's true.
And we've lost the Idaho market. We just need like a map with all the different markets that we've lost.
And so that brings us to the last expansion we're going to talk about,
Yes.
which is Spider Springs.
The description that you gave me for this, it just sounds hilarious.
So I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what's on the BGG website because
Okay.
they're going to cover it the best. But basically, the expansion adds a new location to explore. There's new kinds of treasures, new hazards, and spiders, and the spiders are worth negative points. And so there's a launcher in the middle of this island expansion, and this one actually tucks up next to and under one of the side wings of the original island, whereas the Crimson Cutlass is its own board, kind of separate from. But yeah, there's a spider launcher, and it gets triggered by marbles, which launches these spiders. And if they hit you or knock you over, they take you, or you have to keep them. They stay with you, and they're negative points at the end of the game.
Oh.
As well as it adds a new way to get off the island at the end. Instead of the helicopter, there's a submarine.
Ooh.
See, I thought like the spiders were going to drag you off.
That's
the
what I
island
was
or
thinking.
something.
They take you, well, like, okay, I'm not scared of spiders, but spiders dragging you off the island sounds terrifying.
I mean, based on some of the pictures, these are some big spiders.
Oh, gosh.
Oof.
So I'm pretty excited, and then I will be buying that one as well.
When does that one come out?
I think they said Gen Con this year.
Nice.
Too bad we're not going this year.
I
We
know.
could play it.
Buddy of mine was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, and he was telling me that they had this one hill that they had to patrol every night, and they'd have to stop every so often to do spider check because it was home to like hundreds of tarantulas, and they'd stop and they'd brush off the tarantulas because they just crawled on them while they're walking.
Oh,
They
thanks.
kept telling their CEO, "Dude, we got to do something about this," and he's saying, "No, you're crazy. There's nothing out there," because he'd go out during the day when the spiders are asleep. They finally convinced him to come out on patrol with them, and they waited before they did spider check. And they said, "Okay, sir, we're going to do spider check now." They shine the light on him, and he's just got a ton of tarantulas just all over him. He
Nope.
runs screaming back to base.
How would you not notice that?
Nope.
You're wearing a lot of gear.
Yeah, you have a lot
Okay,
of. You have
okay.
Yeah.
That's
like
fair.
45 pounds of gear and fully dressed, multiple layers of clothing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fair.
The next day, they're out there torching the hill.
Aw, tarantulas are so harmless, though.
Are they?
They are.
Are they?
They don't hurt anything.
Did you ever see Arachnophobia?
Yeah, go
I
watch
had a-
Arachnophobia.
I had a pet tarantula.
You're a terrible person.
It was the coolest.
Why am
thing
I
ever.
married to you?
Because she's got her claws into you.
I would.
Yeah, her pincers.
I would hold him all the
Spider
time. He'd sit on my shoulder.
Oh.
I don't have a thing about spiders, but I think that might make me have the
yeah.
heebie-jeebies a little. I've
It
got the
was
fear
so
of
cool.
snakes.
It's just really quiet, and they don't do like anything scary. They just
Except for they're the size of a softball.
I mean, this guy had like teeth that were like over like an inch long, and he never bit or did anything.
Again, they're the size of a softball.
Yeah,
I got
and
the
you just
biggest one
covered
from the
about
pet
like
store
a
too.
quarter of its size is teeth. I would worry if they made noise though,
You know what's really cool is if they lose a leg, their legs grow back.
like a lizard.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
what happens to humans too?
Yeah, humans are like lizards.
Eh.
I'm waiting for my ancestry to come back and tell me I'm at least 5% lizard.
Lizards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lizard people.
Uh-oh,
Yep.
you're gonna be cloned. You did
Or
one
you
of
could
those
be crab
ancestry
people.
things.
Yes, crab people.
Crab people.
Crab people.
It explains why I climb up the walls and like to sit on rocks in the sun, shed my skin occasionally.
That's why your skin's so dry.
Yes,
I have dry
Skin ready
skin
to
too.
shed.
lick my own
Look at
eyeball.
how dry my skin is. Maybe I'm a lizard.
You gotta love the wonderful weather that we get here in Reno and Sparks, Nevada, because it
We're going through our
changes all the
16th
time.
winter right now.
Yeah. Hey, at least it gives us an excuse to stay inside and play games.
They had chain controls over the pass on Thursday.
Oh my lord.
And it's
It's May.
it's May.
It's May. Why are we still dealing with snow? Because it's Reno, everyone.
But in
If you
October,
don't live here, then
in
you don't
October
know.
when it should be cooling off,
It's
it's like
like
98
75.
degrees.
It's
No,
because our
it's
weather is
bad.
schizophrenic.
98 degrees. I just totally went there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just going back to those boy bands of the 90s.
I was an NSYNC Backstreet Boys girl. Mm.
They're all the same
No.
group. You kill off one of them,
And
and,
a new one
mysteriously
grows.
every single group will be missing someone until
No,
the
98
next one
Degrees
grows
only
out
had
of the
4
fungus.
members. The other 2 had 5. They're totally different.
No, they fused into one on some of those.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, you slam their heads together and
And now Dennis is dying.
The boy band.
The boy
curse.
band's got him.
that did not go how I wanted.
We're not
going
going to edit that one out.
I'm the one that does the editing, thank you.
I know, that one's staying in, right?
Probably. Depends on how much time we have.
So that was Fireball Island, the return to the island. I love the game. It's still great.
Good
The
for kids,
expansions
too.
make it
Good for
even
kids, good for family.
cooler.
Yeah, every expansion just adds a little bit something to it, and I am looking forward to more expansions, including Spider Springs, and hopefully they have a couple more they release too.
They
And-
need to have one with like island natives or something chasing after you with spears.
That is such a good idea.
Ooh.
All right, let's send that to them.
All right, Restoration Games, we gave you the idea. It's all yours. No copyright. You got it. Just do it.
Just make it happen.
Make it for me.
No. Tweet about us and make sure to help grow our audience.
Ooh, there you
Mm.
go. That's all we want.
Yes, just help us
give
grow
us
our audience. Give us publicity. That's what we're there for. So now that we've covered board games, there is a part of our whole shtick is board games, card games, video games, mind games not so much, but we haven't tied too much into the card games. I mean, we did do that a little bit with the Grizzled, and I guess technically Clank counts as a board game / card game. But
That's fair.
yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit more about card games because as of the time of this recording, let's see, we're a couple weeks out from the latest expansion of Magic the Gathering, War of the Spark, which is supposedly going to tie up all of the loose ends of the story that they've been building for the last 10 years, I think it is. Yeah.
It's a long run.
Well, the first 10 years, well, the first few years of Magic the Gathering, they didn't, for the most part, they didn't have a storyline with it. It was just, okay, what kind of cool stuff can we throw together into the cards?
Yeah.
And then they did start to build a narrative with the Antiquities because it actually had a storyline where you have these two brothers that have this incredibly powerful crystal. Each one possessed different properties, but the brothers both wanted both stones. And so they went to war, and it ended up causing massive damage to the entire plane. I mean, it kickstarted an ice age. It destroyed islands. They strip mined so many places of their resources. So,
Why do I feel like this is the story of Rome and Romulus and Remus?
Kind of. There are a lot of parallels.
I was going to say, I feel
there are
some
some
of that
parallels
in
with
there.
that. Well, one of the things about Magic the Gathering is that when it comes to the different expansions, they kind of sometimes they'll pick like a particular region of the world and use like that region's mythology as the basis for the set, because you got one that has kind of a Roman feel to it. You got another one that's got an Egyptian feel to it. They did have a cycle where it had ninjas and samurai and let's see, what was commies? Yeah.
What was the recent one? No, not the most recent, but the one before that was Pirates and Dinosaurs.
Pirates and Dinosaurs? Oh,
It was 2 sets ago. It wasn't the Egyptian one. It was the...
Yeah, because that was Amonkhet was the Egyptian one. That might.
It was the one just after that.
Zendikar, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah,
And I think that was the one that they had lots of pirates and dinosaurs.
that might be. Yeah, that sounds right. Or no, that might have been Takir, because that one also had kind of a primal feel to it. No, that had a lot more dragons in it. Never mind.
I'm gonna have to look.
I
I have
them-
all the cards sitting up in that white box.
I see the white box.
It's a very large
It's
white
a very
box.
large box.
I'll tell you what. I will dig out the boxes that I have of my cards and post those on the Facebook.
Probably
We're gonna
more than James.
need Chad to take photos of his too,
That's awesome.
because he has, I think, a closet full.
Damn.
Yeah.
See, I'd been playing Magic since, I think, the 3rd edition. That was back in 93, I think it was. And over the years, I had gotten into it, gotten out of it, gotten into it, gotten out of it. And at some point, I do have a Richard Moves story for that. You know the other name for Richard. We just can't say it on the air. But what we're actually going to discuss today is digital card games versus physical card games. You know, what are the pros and cons? What preferences? Which one's better? Well, and it's strictly opinion. So don't get all angry with us if you don't like our opinion, because it's our opinion.
And our opinion's right.
Yes. You heard it here on Rulebooks Anonymous. So, and for this one, I did branch out, because the three of us can share our own insights into this, but I did reach out for a couple of people, and I heard back from my brother and from my friend Mike that I met through Contest of Champions. So let me pull up their responses. But generally, just looking over the basics of it, it seems like for the most part we're all about the same on our views of what we like with the digital versus physical. So first from my brother is, let's see, for both physical and digital card games, him personally, he does prefer the physical cards over the digital, because he had a ton of physical Magic cards and everything. And he doesn't have to worry or freak out if there's like a power outage or something, he can't play the game, or if there's like a glitch in the server and wipes out his entire collection. And so on the digital side of that, though, he forgets how much you could forget how much you're spending, because a lot of these digital card games, you've got your credit card, you can spend on packs, you can spend on individual cards, and that's one of the things with my microtransactions. Sorry. Despise that word. Anyways, with that, it's you've got your card already in the system. It's so easy to just press the buy button because you've already got it there. Versus if you're going into a shop or you're going into a store and buying,
You get what you get.
Yeah, you get what you get, and you can actually see that you're spending money. I think it's a psychological aspect of it, because you're seeing that you're actually spending the money and you're holding a tangible product. When you don't hold that tangible product, you're not going to have that same kind of connection for the most part.
Well, and this is not to sidetrack. It kind of goes back to the concept of digital downloads in general for video games as a whole, versus going and physically buying a copy of Fallout 4 or whatever.
Bless you.
Thank you.
It's definitely something that I struggled with for a while because of that concept.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's like with Steam sales. Anyone that has a Steam account can tell you that it's really easy. You just wait for those sales, and you can spend $40 and get 10 games, and then you don't play them.
Or you play one.
Or you
Like
play
James.
one. Yeah.
I have not bought anything on a Steam sale in at least 3 years. Thank you very much.
I've
Granted,
got
before that, it was a lot.
It was a lot.
I've got such a backlog on Steam. I just don't play on PC that much. Is the problem.
Or games at all, really.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's a good point because like you're gonna see that you've got the game. You might look on your shelf and go like, I haven't played that in a while, and I might want to play it. Versus, okay, it's just kind of sitting there in your digital library, and on like the PS4 with the way that the screen works, your most recent game is right there at the forefront, followed by the second most recent, and this is in terms of what you bought and what you've played. And so as you go down the list, it's getting pushed further and further back. So something that you may have gotten or you may have played once, and then you get caught up in gamer ADD and playing other things, then those games get pushed further back. And at least with the PS4, that's digital, and even if you have the disc, it does kind of load it up there on your screen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is that psychological aspect of it. And, I mean, for digital card games, there is the convenience that you can have your entire thing on your phone, on your tablet, or whatever.
Yeah, your entire collection.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about all your cards at home where, oh man, I needed to bring that deck and I didn't bring it.
Yeah. Or, you don't have anyone around that will play, that you can play against. I mean, that I think is the biggest draw for those digital card games.
Problem of a board gamer. I don't have anyone to play with.
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the things. I think that's a big draw with online gaming in general, is that you may not have somebody around you that you can play against, but hey, I can just go online and play against someone and then get yelled at by a 10-year-old. So, yeah. So I mean, it's easy to get sucked into that.
Sure.
And so. My other friend's take on this, and this is my buddy Mike that I've known for a couple of years now through Contest of Champions and everything. And his thoughts are they both have their merits with their own strengths. Physical cards can become collectibles worth thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, that's a big thing right there. But you could misplace and lose those cards too by trying to keep them somewhere safe. They could get lost down the road. Physical is more engaging because you're facing the person. You're not just looking at a screen. And so you can even bluff. And bluffing is going to play into that as well. So you may have a terrible hand, but then, hey, I can bluff, and they can make them think that. You can't really pull that off for the most part in digital card games. But Mike's take on the digital card games is that it's not as nice as the physical, but it's basically impossible to lose your cards unless you lose your account or like the servers shut down. So if you lose your account, you lose everything, which is very true. And yeah, I mean, it's just over time you might see people that have played some of these online digital games and they might sell their account.
Yeah.
And some of those accounts can be very valuable, and all it took was you putting in the time. So you may not have spent money on that account, but you've accrued a very nice collection, and then boom, you're selling it for a couple $100 or something. But you can easily spend.
You can just grind it out, or you can spend the money.
And that's where, with some of these games, you have to look at the in-game economy. Is it going to be? Is it something that I can just play through and earn my stuff, or is it something that I can, or I have to spend money on? Versus with your physical card games, say they shut down the servers or something, years from now, you can still play the game.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I do enjoy both, but I think I lean more towards the physical cards because I've got some really old cards, but I can still play with them.
Well, there's kind of a nostalgic feeling with that too.
For the old cards.
Yeah.
There is. There were people that got butthurt about some of the artwork on the Magic cards back in the day when it started gaining steam. They had a lot. They've got the different colors of Magic: white, black, red, green, and white. Black Magic is technically your evil side.
Necromancers and vampires.
Zombies and a lot of control. So like, taking away cards and everything. And some of the things on there were demons and such, and it has some of the symbolism that people said is satanic and everything. So some of those older cards have this incredible artwork that have these symbols that people got angry with, so they had to change up the artwork.
It was their version of the Satanic Panic for D&D.
Basically.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone just freaking out about it. It's just a card game.
Well, because when I was younger, in middle school, I had a bunch of Magic cards. I mean, when I was younger, I played Overpower with my brother, and we also played another game that I actually still have all the cards from the base set called Redemption, which was the Christian version.
Yes,
of
I
Magic.
remember. I think I remember that one.
It's actually still an okay game. It's not great, but it's definitely still playable.
Okay.
It's not something where I'd go, I got to get rid of this. It's not worth anything. It's worth playing like once in a while. It's silly, but no, I had Magic cards at the time, and I played every day. Our computer teacher at lunch would let all the kids come in and play Magic.
Nice.
And so we'd come in and we'd play. And I was not very good then, nor am I very good now, although I still play. But I had those cards through probably my junior year of high school. And, at the time, I grew up in I'd call it at least semi-religious household, and
Yeah.
I was afraid that my parents would find those cards, and so I hid them really well.
Okay.
Because of the artwork had some sort of, some of the stuff was a bit, I don't know. This is not necessarily the sets you're talking about. This is a little bit later on. It's like 1998, 1999, but
Okay.
definitely still had some stuff that was questionable within a semi-religious household. And
Some of the female characters on a few of those cards were a little suggestive.
And ultimately, my junior year of high school, having not played in probably 2.5 years, I gave all of them away to this kid that I knew, and I kind of regret that decision.
Oh yeah, that's a joke with some of the older generation. I would have been a millionaire if my mom hadn't sold my comic books or my baseball cards. Or
Oh,
whatever.
absolutely. Thankfully, I still have all my baseball cards, but who knows if they're actually worth anything.
Hard to say.
Yeah,
It depends on which one.
it's all implied value.
Yes.
I'm admittedly very ignorant to this topic because I need to
Yeah, you do.
play card games, but I haven't really. I don't know. They're very intimidating to me.
I still have a lot of those Overpower cards, so I will see about digging those out. We can have like an old school. Yeah, we can play with some of those.
I was a Pogs kid.
That's okay. I played
yeah.
Pogs too. I had a sweet slammer. It was huge.
I had this cool orange one that had like a skull and crossbones carved in it, and then somebody stole it out of my lunchbox in 6th grade.
That's what happens.
Jerks.
Kids are mean.
They are.
But
What's the point? Yeah, punks.
I think, Amanda, for you, it was probably more you just weren't exposed to it. It
No, I
wasn't
really
around.
wasn't. I
Well,
remember.
your brothers didn't, or your older brother didn't play Magic, did he?
Not that I know of. I don't think he did. And I know, like, Zach, when he was little, he was really into Pokemon. That's my little brother. But he never had, like, the cards or anything. And I just didn't understand it. I still don't.
my kids play Pokemon, the card game, and I have a basic understanding of how to play it and everything. It is so bizarre because the complexities of some of the rules with Magic they change with every single set, and I can play that with no problems. And games like Pinochle just like stump me, and I struggle. It drives my in-laws nuts.
It's alright, I still can't
But
play bridge to this
I'm
day.
very open to learning how to play all those games. I just never, like, knew anyone who was into them or, like,
Well,
wanted to play or...
And one of the cool things with like the digital versions of these, because there is an app for Magic on iOS and Google and everything.
I just tried
Duels.
to look one up, but James said it was the old one, and it
It is
doesn't
the
work
old
anymore.
one, but
yeah,
it does still work.
Yeah, Duels still works. The newest one that they've got is Magic the Gathering Arena, and that's on PC.
On PC, yeah.
So, you could throw that on your laptop, and it's the exact same way as playing the real version, but it's got enough of a tutorial. It can teach you all of the basics and
Yep.
everything, so that if you do want to jump into it in the real world outside of the digital world, you know how to play. So that's
And
one of the
that's-
nice things about it.
So yeah, that's like a benefit to having it on
On a digital platform.
a digital platform. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got more. You've got the tutorials that will walk you through the mechanics on how to play it, and
And
there's
it literally walks you through because it'll
Exactly.
stop the game you're playing. It'll pull you into like this sub situation
I need that.
Yep.
where it says, okay, they've played this, so you're going to want to do this and this to counter because of how this this specific thing operates, whether
Yeah.
it's a flying or I'm trying to think of things right now, but I'm drawing a blank. But the different characteristics or types of powers that those cards have.
Yeah, and you've got, and then you have with the digital realm things like Hearthstone, where they can only work in the digital world because of the mechanics of the cards, where it's like a random, random targeting, or a lot of where you're relying on Rain Jesus to help you.
And I was going to talk about that too, kind of shifting gears away from Magic altogether. But
Yeah.
there's another card game, online only, CCG, that came out called Cards, KRDS.
I think I've seen it. I just haven't tried it.
It's World War II
Oh, neat.
in a collectible card game. And I find that concept fascinating. It's interesting to me because I like history and I like World War II, World War I, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But what I was going to say is similar to Star Realms, which I think I've told you about before.
You've told me about it, and we were going to touch on it a little bit.
So I'm going all over the place right now, but I first played Star Realms at Gen Con this last year. My buddy Patrick brought it just as a filler game when we were waiting between events that we were going to or games we were playing.
Okay.
And I love it. It's a nice little deck builder, similar to Clank in the form of deck building, but also has some elements of, say, Magic and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I have the app, and I've been playing the app. I don't own any of the cards. They were all Patrick's, and I think my buddy Chad bought a bunch of them too. And in the app, you could go and purchase more, and I can't do it. I refuse to do it. And the same thing with cards. Like, I'm really interested in the topic, or the theme, if you will,
Mhm.
and want to play it, but it's only online, and I'm like, I can't bring myself to do that.
Well, one of the things that drives me nuts, and this is also something that bothers me about like digital books, is that the price is the exact same
Oh yeah,
as a physical
And you're not
pack.
getting anything physical from it.
Exactly. If I'm spending real money on these packs of digital cards, that when the game shuts down, I have nothing. I mean, granted, you have to treat it as entertainment. You're spending the money to be entertained and everything.
yeah, like going to the movie theater. You see
Yeah.
it once, and it's
Yeah.
gone.
Exactly. But when you're spending the exact same, in a lot of cases, as what you would for a physical pack, it kind of bothers me. At least with Arena, jumping back to Magic, because let's face it, Magic is the big dog.
Yeah.
All right. But at least in Arena, you can earn gold and crystals and things that you can spend on the pack, so you don't have to spend actual money.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that they do cater to, is that you have the whales that will spend a ton of money because they want to be the top dog and they want to win, and they've got the money to burn, or they're going to burn their money. Everyone's got their own choices. And the people that are free to play players are basically kind of leeching off of those whales.
Yeah.
Occasionally you might have
Riding
those-
coattails.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Well, you might have some of those players that will
Buy a couple here or there.
Yeah, exactly. Throw in a couple of
there's a-
bucks.
It's a 50% off weekend, so they'll go in and buy a couple of decks here or there.
They found that on things like Black Friday and Cyber Monday on those games, they make a ton of money, and it's the same thing. They're just throwing deals out there where the overhead for them on these digital packs is almost nothing. It's just server space.
Yeah.
Versus, if you're going to an actual store, they have to hold it on a shelf. They have to
Takes
keep
up
it in
shelf
the back.
space, yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are advantages to digital versus physical in that respect, in terms of storage and in terms of overhead.
So I feel like really the opinion that we're coming to here is that we typically like the physical copy more. but
Well, it might be a-
understand the benefit. No, I was just going to say we understand the benefits of having a digital platform for the reasons discussed, i.e. you can carry your collection. They have tutorials for people that haven't played.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it might even be like if you had a poll, it might even be something with generations too. Like the newer, younger generations would probably be more into the digital because that's kind of what they're into, and then the older generations they already have their cards, and that's what they.
Us old folk.
Yes.
That's 30-plus-year-olds.
Yeah, I'm now 37 as of a couple of days ago.
God, you're so old.
I'm so old. It's all downhill from
But
here.
that's what we're used to, and so I think it might be something that would change opinion-wise with the generations
Yeah,
too.
that could be a generational thing. So I can see that. So yeah. So anyways, I think we still had a little bit more on this subject, or did you have a story for us, James?
Oh God, am I being put on the spot? I don't know if I have a story.
I actually.
I do have a story.
you do.
Oh no, you
no,
go.
I was gonna say I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's because I'm ignorant to these card games.
that's okay.
So you have Magic,
Yes.
which is a deck building game. You have
Mhm.
Clank, which is a deck building game.
Well,
Is there
hold
any
on.
similarities?
Hold on. When we say deck building, we mean different things.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm
Okay.
figuring. But
So in Clank, the game itself is the deck building.
Okay.
You're playing the cards, but you're building the deck as you go.
Gotcha.
Whereas with Magic the Gathering and
Your
most
deck
CCGs,
is your deck.
you've built the deck beforehand. Like you'll sit there for an hour or two going through
Okay.
cards, building this deck together, and then you go play the game. So
And there's virtually limitless combinations you can do
Yep.
with, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Star Realms, I take it.
Yep.
Pretty much any of those. So it's just you're limited by the amount of cards you can have, minimum and maximum and everything.
Yep.
And so it's all up to you as to how you build that, or if you go online and you find that somebody else has made a cool deck that you can probably just rip off. My brother has informed me that some of these top tier decks that are winning tournaments, and there is big money to be made
Yep.
if you win these tournaments.
a lot of money.
You're spending $700 to $1,000 to get what you need to make this deck. Now,
that's an expensive hobby.
It can be.
but if you're going for tournament play, then you can potentially make your money back and then some.
That's true.
But just because you have all of these good cards and in this deck does not mean that you are going to be able to win. It also takes skill to know when to play, what to play, how to play.
As well as luck regarding your shuffle.
Oh yeah, you can get a crap hand right off the bat. You can mulligan all to heck, and then you're still going to get your butt handed
You can
to
play a game against Chad, in which you draw your 7 cards and have no land, and then you mulligan and draw your 6 cards, right? Because it's one
Yep.
less, yeah. And still have no land and get really, really sad.
Yeah, you need your land cards in order to play anything else. That is your
Gotcha.
primary resource.
Yep.
And then you just you can get screwed so easily on a couple of mulligans, and I think it's a limit of 2 mulligans
so.
down to
I think
5.
that's right,
yeah,
yeah.
down to 5 cards. And
Which
even
can
then,
that alone can just destroy you.
exactly, because you're depriving yourself of resources and options. So I mean, there's so much that goes into these games, and even with the digital versions and the physical versions, I mean, you just luck of the draw really plays into it.
Okay, I always kind of wondered the difference because we always talk about Clank being a card building or deck building.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the
So-
problem is that the term gets thrown around, whereas I would say Clank is a true deck building game, whereas Magic is a CCG that you
Gotcha.
build your own decks in. I think is really the
Well, and then I don't know if this is gonna be an ignorant question, but
It's
like
okay.
things like Magic and things like Pokemon, are those kind of more into like the role playing realm a little bit?
In a way, in the storyline of Magic the Gathering, you are a planeswalker, which is
Yep.
someone that can travel between different worlds,
Okay.
and you're having a duel against another planeswalker, another player, and that's why you're able to throw these spells out, call other planeswalker cards in there, and they've muddled and flex sealed up all of the weirdness within the storylines and everything over the years.
So in theory, as players, yes,
Okay.
you theoretically are, but no one like actually
Does it?
does an
I mean,
actual role play that I've
That'd be
ever
really
heard
fun
of.
to do role play with the Pokemon cards.
No, I've seen
I'd choose
Yu-Gi-Oh
you, Pikachu.
players. Oh, I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh players that will just like use the terminology from the show to piss off Magic players,
my
and it is.
gosh.
I'm not as into it where it would bother me, but I can see why it would.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so funny to watch, and yeah, exactly with the whole "I choose you" with and
Pikachu?
yeah, and
Ryan
then,
Reynolds.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that. But
I haven't
what
seen it either.
Has
I
it come
wanna
out
see.
yet?
Yeah,
it's already out. Oh yeah.
Because Bill took the kids.
I'm so sorry.
What I really want though is I want somehow for Fox and Marvel and Disney and all of them to come up with like a Deadpool Pikachu movie,
So he's just having a conversation with himself.
or maybe it's like Pikachu dressed as Deadpool, or he's like doing the same things that Deadpool does, but he can now zap people.
Would he be Pikapool or Dead Chew?
I like Pikapool better. Also voiced by Ryan Reynolds, because you can't get away from that now.
You know, I want to know why Ryan Reynolds didn't do the Green Lantern in the Lego movie.
They
I
had
think-
Channing Tatum or
I think
Oh,
No,
I
they
screwed
had
up his
Ryan
name.
Jonah
Reynolds has decided that he's no longer going to go anywhere near Green Lantern as a matter of just not ruining his life.
Look, I don't know if they've given up on the DC universe or the cinematic
I
universe.
think they have.
Yeah, when you cast Robert Pattinson, the sparkly vampire, as Batman,
Was he?
why?
The only thing that I can say about that is I saw somewhere where someone said, "Oh no, they're going to have Michael Keaton play old Batman."
They're going to do Batman Beyond?
Someone was saying they were going to have
If they bring back Michael Keaton, I'll be okay.
I don't know if they're actually going to do that. That was just like the people going, I'd be okay with this, with Pattinson coming in and playing either Nightwing or new Batman or,
Well, if they did go the Batman Beyond route, then him as Terry McGinnis might work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, he might be too old at that point if that's the route that they're going, because Terry McGinnis was a high school student.
It's true.
So
It's just the things I saw, and I said,
don't-
I could be okay with that.
I don't know.
I still like that meme you sent of the sparkly Batman in Lego
Oh,
Movie
yeah.
2. It's saying that when you cast Robert Patterson as Batman.
I can see that. You live long enough to die as a hero in one franchise only to ruin another or something like that. Because he was great in Harry Potter. Granted, he had like 10 lines.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah.
He's not a bad actor. I think he just got put into
A
Twilight, and that
crappy
just
movie.
kind of
Well, look, when you
pooped
have
on his career a little
when
bit.
you have Kristen Stewart, who looks like she is just so disinterested in everything, I think she sucked the life out of everyone in that film.
I think
Probably.
so.
Yeah.
He might. I think we should give him a chance. He might do okay.
I really think they
I
just
feel like
need to
I'm
walk
always
away.
the fair person in this group.
I really feel like they just need to walk away from Batman at this point.
Yeah, they
How
just need
many
to stop.
reiterations have we had at this point, and is it really necessary to continue that? There's other characters in the DC universe that we can explore.
Or they should just start making Jason Momoa all of their
all of the characters.
because they
Jason
at least get all the
Momoa
middle-aged
is
women.
Wonder Woman.
He's always got the trident, no matter what he's doing, and he's wearing different costumes, but he's still got the trident.
He would be such a wonderful Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
it'd
Gal
be
He's got the
great.
long,
Did he?
beautiful flowing hair.
Hey, Gal Gadot?
Gal Gadot.
However you say her
She
name.
was
She
very
was
good.
awesome.
She was very
She was
good.
awesome.
She
in
was
that movie.
really good. That was actually probably one of my favorite DC
I thought it was
movies.
going to be such an awful movie.
That's
'cause-
look,
Because
in the
most
past,
DC, DC's record.
of the recent ones. That's probably the best.
My brother said he liked Shazam.
I will watch it.
Said it was good.
I will try it.
Now that whatever the actor's name is, he has been immortalized in Injustice 2, as they threw in the movie version of Shazam into the Injustice 2 game. Same with Gal Gadot. Her version of Wonder Woman is in there, and it looks just like her, only CG'd.
Oh, weird.
It's pretty cool.
CG stuff's kind of creepy nowadays.
Some
Like
of
they
it.
make all these
I don't know.
people young.
Did you
They're
see
like,
Rouge One, Star Wars,
Yes.
where they threw Grand Moff Tarkin?
I thought he looked good.
He looked shiny.
That's okay.
They brought him back from the dead, but he was shiny. It was
That's
so weird.
It's because they have new film.
I was
It's
looking.
shiny new film.
Okay. Because I was looking at that going, wait a minute, that guy's dead, isn't
It's
he?
gotten better since Tron, I'll tell you that much.
Hey,
Oh,
Tron
yeah,
is
In
still
the
on.
Tron,
Tron
Hey,
2,
yeah,
when they had
Electric
young Jeff
Boogaloo.
Bridges.
it didn't
Yeah,
look that
there's a lot of
good.
electric boogaloos today.
Yes, there are.
I think it's gotten a lot better with like all the Marvel movies they used it in. It's,
Yeah.
it's
No,
looking-
it definitely is better than it was, but
like Michael Douglas in Endgame looked.
God, he looked good.
He looked good
He looked
when.
very good.
Isn't he pushing in like 80 something?
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Yeah.
And he looked like a solid 40-year-old. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, you can pass.
Yeah, that's about how old he was in the 70s, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
something.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting off topic again, but we are also out of time.
No.
We are. I'm
Oh.
sorry. That's just how it is.
Guys,
We're gonna miss
go.
you.
We're going to miss everyone.
I know, but there's really no consistency with our runtime if you actually look at our runtimes on it.
Yeah,
Runtime's
semantic
unimportant.
semantics.
Yeah, hey, we keep it to about an hour or so.
We try.
Yeah, we do it to entertain you, and sometimes we go off on our tangents.
Yeah, it's
I always
true.
get sad when podcasts are over anyway. Just let it keep going. No, just
We'll just have a 25-hour podcast. It's fine.
Oh, I can't sit down for that long. We'd have to actually buy music in order to do breaks.
Filler music.
Yeah.
Amanda, do you have any final thoughts?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Dennis, do you have any final thoughts?
Just go out and play some games.
Yeah,
Have
for
some
sure.
have some fun. Get away from the craziness of the real world.
Ditto.
I
That's my
agree.
final thought. Ditto.
Ditto. Well, I just want to say Mother's Day just happened,
It did.
and my
As of this
mother,
recording.
as of this recording, and my mother loves Patchwork. It's one of her favorite games. She has probably over 100 plays of it on the digital version. She's addicted to it. So I introduced her to a game that we're going to be reviewing in a couple of weeks called Barren Park, and she crushed me.
On Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day,
And
she
he didn't
crushed
even let
me.
her win.
I didn't even let her. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna lose." My mom is a pool shark.
And she also kicks his butt at Patchwork.
Oh God, we finished a game the other night, and she was
was-
like, "Oh, you're probably
was
gonna
so mad.
win," and sure enough, she beat me.
Oh God.
I think our record, honestly, I think I maybe have 5 wins out of the 40 games that we've played, if I'm lucky, that many. But
Nice.
so yeah, go play games with your mom. Let them win, or don't. No,
Or
let
she
them
might
win.
just crush you on her own.
They
'cause-
might just beat you anyway because they're
'cause
better
they're
than
awesome.
you.
You could say Happy Mother's Day after they win, just like kind of smile.
Yep.
And make it seem like you played terribly.
You definitely let them win, but in
Yes.
reality, you're crying on the inside. It's okay
Yeah.
because I was crying on the inside
Were you crying on the outside later?
a little bit. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. But
Okay.
please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Share the show with your friends, or also Google Podcasts.
Yes.
Um,
Possibly on Spotify soon and Podbean.
Ooh, we're
Ooh.
expanding.
We are. I gotta get more people.
Yep. But yeah, definitely share with your
Share,
friends.
share.
Leave reviews, lots of reviews, more reviews, all the reviews. Even if you hate it, I don't care. Leave a review.
But if you hate us, at least give us constructive
Yeah,
criticism.
tell us why. Is it because we ramble too much? Because honestly, sorry, that's not going to change.
We've tried.
To be honest.
Yes, we have tried.
Anyway. We're going to see you all next time here at Rulebooks Anonymous, where we sponsor your addiction.
Farewell.
Goodbye.
You have been listening to Rulebooks Anonymous. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spreaker.